camera cut off, memory card was full, and Omar's getting antsy, and this is where we have to watch out for him, because if I'm not paying attention, he could come over here and think he's jumping on my lap and hit this chair, so I better put him on my lap. This will be real quick. Oh, by the way, I was sleeping on the couch. You can hurt yourself easily, I already know that. Just like on Goldberg's, he broke his ribs, the father broke his ribs laughing, you know what I mean? Anyway, I moved the wrong way on the couch, waking up, you know, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world, and I didn't feel sharp pain, but I felt something, twist or whatever, and now I'm in pain. I'm not major pain, but I could feel it, so I might have just that easily, like, slightly, I don't know, pulled something in my back, you know, or sprained something or whatever. I mean, it's not agonizing, but it's there, and it's annoying when I'm going through all this other shit, you know. I can feel it still, but I hope it works itself out, you know. Anyway, let me finish this real fast, because the camera memory cut off, and I was in the middle of reading you this text, and then I have to do other stuff. Alright, this is what I sent to her. Remember, I'm being, quote, immature, unquote, and don't give a fuck. I did it before when I'm going to vent to you. I'm going to tell you how I feel, but I'm not going to get into a back and forth with you. I don't want to until I see you in person, which means I'm not listening to your voicemails or reading your text, but I will still leave you voicemails and send you texts, see? She's not my fucking friend. You understand? I can do whatever I want. I don't have to communicate with her back and forth in text or phone messages, but I can send as many as I want to her. Get it? It's my right. I'm not the one who fucked up. It was you. You know what I mean? This is what I want to do, to vent and get it out of my system, and I need time to process all of this and deal with it before I have to deal with you in person, and that's how it goes. I even had my mom call, you know, so they know it's not just coming from me. But my mom I had her call the field adjuster, just read something that I said. But now, like I told you in the video, the field, they're not, I didn't tell you that in another video. I told that in Kurt in a comment. Insurance company says I told my mom we have to work it out between us and the contractor. There's nothing the insurance company can do. They're not involved. My plumber thought that's really shitty. You know, they go in their merry way, and you have to, I know, that's how it works, though. My plumber thought he told me, he's like, that sucks. Yeah. He thinks it's all shitty. He thinks it's shitty that my mom and I were not told up front what was going to replace our all one-piece tub and shower thing. You know? There's going to be one of these 4-piece things that we were going to come home and get freaked out. I was going to get freaked out by thinking there's this huge gap here and water's flooding the wall behind, and plus it's ugly and I don't like it. It turns out that that's how it's supposed to be. But not really. It shouldn't be that much big, so it's... I don't know. But churchwoman pisses me off because there's a reason that the Sterling experts will say stuff like a 1/8 of an inch or less gap is acceptable. Yet the churchwoman's like, that makes no sense. You snap them together and there shouldn't be any bigger gap on one side than the other. I don't know. You know. And then she argues with me, Laura, think about it, lose your head. You know, if they're just snapping it together like a piece of a puzzle, okay, but there are other people who say they have gaps for some reason, and the Sterling experts will say it's acceptable. You know, 3 credit cards width. But 3 credit cards width is still smaller. My plumber said he's never seen one as big as the one in my back wall there. And that should be able to be made tighter, but he says he thinks maybe it can't because of the structure of our house. It's not fair. None of it's fair. I don't know. But I think they should be forced to try to make it tighter anyway, just so I can feel better seeing up front what they did. Oh, and he had no idea. Remember I told you about that underneath stuff? It's all brown gunk with underneath that panel where it sticks out. And he looked, he got on his hands and knees and looked, he's like, I have no idea what that is, Laura. I'm like, I know, what the fuck? I want it redone, at least partially. If they have to fix plumbing and things, pipes and or those things, they're not going to be able to do that without taking that panel off anyway on the one side and reinstalling the grab bar. So they might as well take the other panel off too. You know what I mean? And show me how it's done and prove to me one way or the other if the church woman and Lowe's, if it can be made tighter, or if my plumber's right and it can't be made tighter because the way it's situated in the house with the tub and all. I don't know. It's just hate. It's just not fair. Last time I was upset, it was thankfully over a misunderstanding, but this time that is not even remotely the case. I really hope you will both do the right thing by my mother and me and be upfront and completely honest about what went wrong and why. In other words, i.e., who fucked up the shower mechanism, tub drain, and sink drain. I accused X and Y, her two male employees, strangers who I never got to meet up front, but were in my home alone, and I even had to come here and be with them and not her. I accused X and Y, but my plumber thinks it might have astonishingly, because I am astonished if a professional plumber fucked all this shit up, thinks it might have astonishingly been your professional plumber. Remember, she told me up front, we have a plumber who's on our team or whatever, but it's really, she pays him. He's not her employee, you know what I mean? I know how it works. It's just like when he had to install our, my plumber had to install our hot water heater. He also had to have an electrician come here, and he paid the electrician. You get it? That's the same thing with her saying we have a plumber on our team. You mean you have a plumber you work with, but it's a professional, and you got fucked up these little things, or was it your man who fucked up these little things? Danielle, I don't know. I wonder if you'll ever tell me the truth. It might have astonishingly been your professional plumber. The reason he thinks it might have been the plumber is because he thinks that's what plumbers do. The plumbers would be the ones to do that, but probably he's not a contractor. Maybe contractors do it too. Put the little drain things on in the shower nozzles and get them working and whatnot. I don't know. But if it was the plumber, it's still, there's even less of an excuse. Astonishingly been your professional plumber who messed up, or was it simply simply inexcusably careless? I don't know. But what I do know is that I needed time to process and deal with all this crap, and had every right to vent to you in text while ignoring you in return. Just like was the case last time. Last time was a week and a half ago, you know, with the grab bar situation that could have been avoided by a simple phone call to the hotel. Laura, my guy was here putting the grab bar up, yeah, very last minute, you know, putting the grab bar up, but he realized that we don't know where you want it. It would be better if we can talk to, and you can tell us in person where you want it, show us. We'll come back and do it some other time. No, she told me nothing. See? Lack of communication. That's what my plumber pointed out, even in regards to not telling us what kind of tub shower contraption was going to replace what would have been there. There was all one piece. I'd never even known something like this existed. And again, in my personal thing, I would never buy something like that. Ever, 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 ever. Okay? But people do because it's cheap. Just like was the case last time I was upset with you. I wanted to talk to you in person, not get into an argument or back and forth with you via text or over the phone. In case you haven't noticed, I am, and have always been, by the way, an extremely sensitive human being. I can't deal with all this crap, her name. It hurts me, and I have been hurt enough in this one lifetime to last me 10. Really, it'll last me 100. Church woman knows how difficult it is for me to stand up for myself. That is why she talked about all of this with both somebody who works at Lowe's and a plumber she knows. That is also the reason she asked me if I wanted her to be here when you guys hopefully come back to make right all the things that went wrong. Notice I used the word hopefully. I know people have horror stories and they never get anything rectified and they just get fucked over, and, you know, their only recourse is to sue in the end, and will that even work out, you know? Be careful with this. That's where I put your front line, and it's discolored your skin. Kind of proves to me about these tick medications. What are you going to do? At least I don't put anything on him at all in the winter months. I go as long as I can without putting anything on him. I stop as soon as I feel I can, and I don't put anything on him in the winter months. But that new collar thing is designed to be always worn. You know what I mean? So those dogs that wear that and cats that wear that have to wear it year-round. That collar thing that's in place of like Frontline or Advantage, we're not putting on the skin. You know. He's lived a long life. He had a vet checkup, not that long ago, last year, and no problems whatsoever. Just the eyes. Cataracts, very common in pugs. And the corneal ulcers he had were a result of the not being able to see. The cat, that was, the corneal ulcers were caused by him poking himself and not being able to see. It's nerve-wracking. I had all this time to get used to it, but my mom's not used to it at all, and I have to get her on her case. It's to protect Omar. She understands. She doesn't do anything on purpose, but got to drill it into her because it's to protect Omar. We'd both be basket cases if anything happened to Omar, especially if it's because we accidentally hurt him, or sat on him, crushed him to death. Capiche? So anyway, eventually, I'm sure after all this nightmare's over, I'll read all the texts that she sent to me all along and listen to the voicemails where I was being told, I know it now after talking to a person, I was never going to fuck you over about the grab bar. I would never do that, but it didn't make sense to me. You put it on a wall. You said you'd only bought one. You didn't communicate when you talked to me that day. You said, go home, everything's fine. You didn't say, I didn't put the grab bar up. You're going to go home and smoke. It's like, what the fuck? You were in the wrong. I said to her when we made up that time, when she came, this is a learning experience for you, isn't it? You have to experience. She's like, yeah, I have to communicate with my clients, my customers from start to finish. Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer, Anyway, even when I talked to the other judge, she's like, well, just ignore all the voicemails we left for you, or texts, or basically it's going to say, but she understood where I was coming from, why I wouldn't have trusted anything, You didn't tell me anything, why am I going to think anything different? Other than that you had just intentionally not done it and put it on a wall instead, and how fucking dare you, But that was all a misunderstanding. Thought that it was supposed to be over with. All this other stuff. Holy shit. Even if I was technically wrong about the gap, you were still wrong to not communicate about this whole thing, and it still should be sealed. According to the Lowe's people, water can get by. It still should be sealed. A sealant should be everywhere. But it wouldn't have mattered even if I didn't even faze me about the tub and shower. I would have found out about the tub drain and the shower coming out, even when, and those three things, and then now the sink's leaking. I mean, oh my God. The sink has probably been leaking all along. There's water down, and I just didn't pay attention. This is all brand new. I'm not going to pay attention. You know, oh my God. Thank God I had my plumber here to examine every little thing and find things that I was not even aware of, you know. He found another chip or blemish he found it on the tub, and I showed him the one that's up on the shower. That's not right either. It isn't, because that could get worse over time, and it's just not right. You know, if it's you and it's not some contractor, I'm lucky there's not more of those. That's not right. A contractor is not they're not going to carefully examine these things, so they don't want to keep returning them and getting another ones like a person will do. Like they said online, I had to return it 3 times. They kept driving, you know. But if it's your personal thing, you're buying these contraptions, you're going to check over with a fine-tooth, make sure everything's not chipped. I'm lucky it's not worse chipped, because I'd have no recourse. It's already been installed, and these contractors, they don't care. And you don't know if they chipped it while they're putting it in carelessly, or if it arrived that way. It's just not fair. Not fair. Bye.